Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. These Subi boys have been taking L's for quite a long time now. It's been a couple months. Now, first they discontinued your STI and now this. But I'm not gonna lie though, we kind of share the same disappointment here. What is up guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. So today, we're gonna be talking about the topic that everybody's pretty much talking about right now on the internet if you're a car enthusiast. Cobb came out with, well, unless, you know, you're a V8. If you're into the whole tuner thing, you have a Cobb Accessport in your car, you're pretty much talking about this. But Cobb came out with their article yesterday, their Green Speed article, and that basically states that they are making some changes to their tuning platform and basically how they go about doing things. So I had a couple people ask me what I thought about the situation and how it affects me. So I figured I'd make this video to kind of shed some light on what I know about the situation and hopefully clear some things up for you guys. So what I did was I posted a questionnaire on my story on Instagram. If you are not following me on Instagram, it is at @IamRobertWilliams. I posted a questionnaire on my story asking you guys to ask me questions that I can answer in this video, and hopefully it might clear some things up for you guys and I can tell you if it affects you or if it doesn't affect you. But right away I'll tell you that this whole situation does not affect me with this car. As you guys know, this is a Focus ST. I do have it tuned through the Cobb Accessport, but the thing is I had this car tuned about 3 to 4 years ago. It is full bolt-ons on E85 with the big turbo, and because of the fact that I did have this car already tuned prior to this coming out, it doesn't affect me. Now the reason why it doesn't affect me is because the tune's already on the Accessport is already married to the car. So the only way that this would affect me is if I took out my Accessport from this car, plugged it up to the computer, because once you plug up that Accessport to the computer after Cobb has announced everything that's going on, they will push a mandatory update and you will lose all your tunes, all your settings on the Accessport. So we'll go over that a little later, but let's get inside this video and all the questions. So the number one question that I'm getting is, what does this exactly mean? So basically what it means is Cobb has officially put certain parameters in place that now complies with all emission regulations. So there's a list of things that Cobb has taken away from the Accessport that you now cannot modify. And that list is oxygen, which is O2 sensors, exhaust gas temperatures, three-way catalyst, exhaust gas recirculation, stratified warm-up, tumble generator valves, which is for the Subi boys, secondary air injection, evaporator system, feature tables associated with certain OEM OBD tests meeting max limits, feature tables associated with certain OEM OBD test monetary entry threshold. So that's a list of stuff that Cobb has taken away from the tuning software that you can no longer modify. Now, if you're just trying to do a full bolt-ons tune, then it's not really going to affect you. But if you're trying to do a full bolt-ons tune, E85, big turbo, whole 9 yards, then some of this stuff starts to affect you, because in order to get the outcome that you want, you got to modify some of the stuff that you can no longer modify. So that's kind of the reason why it's such a big deal. Now, explaining a little in detail, I know I have a lot of Focus ST guys on here, but like just explaining a little in detail for the Subi guys, the reason why it hits them a little bit harder than the rest of us is because with their flex fuel kit, Cobb discontinued that I think like a month or two back. Now, the reason why they discontinued it is because their flex fuel kit kind of ties into the TGV, which is the tumble generator valve. And what it does, I believe it picks up like ground power and also picks up like the signal for the flex fuel. Well, the thing is, if you delete the TGV valve, because the TGV valve, basically what it does is it closes the valves on a cold start, and then once the car is warmed up, then it opens it up. Now on the older model STIs and then WRX, that's how it works. But the newer ones, it actually opens and closes with the throttle response. So what they used to do, I say used to because it's no longer available. Sorry, let me throw that out there. But what they used to do is they used to delete that and in place put the flex fuel kit, and that's how the flex fuel kit used to get its signal. So that's the reason why that kind of hits them harder, because they no longer can do flex fuel. They're gonna have to do a 2-map tune like the Focus SC, because we never had flex fuel for these cars. We always had to do like a dual map type of tune for these cars. Question number 2. Can I run catalyst with the new setup? You can still run catalyst with the new setup. The thing is, that check engine light's gonna come on with that catalyst downpipe unless you get a defouler. If you get a defouler, then it won't come on. But if you don't get a defouler and that check engine light comes on and you go to get tuned, the tuners will not be able to turn the check engine light off because they will not have access to that. And that was one of the things that Cobb has changed with this whole Green Speed thing. The reason why that's such a big deal for the guys that just want a full bolt-ons and tune, if they go and get an emissions check, also known as a smog, as soon as they see that that check engine light is on, it's automatically going to fill the smog. So that's why that's kind of such a big deal. But nonetheless, you can still technically install a downpipe. They just will have that check engine light on. They won't be able to do anything about it. Question number 3. What happens to the tunes that are already on the car? So guys, I cannot, actually let's lock my phone. Whoops. I cannot stress this enough. If you have a tune on your car and you are okay with that tune, you don't want to change nothing, the car runs fine, everything is good, do not take the access port and plug it up to your computer. Do not do it. Do not do it, because Cobb, and it's in the statement, they are pushing a mandatory update for anybody who plugs their access port up to the computer, because it is part of the whole go green speed thing that they did. If you plug up your access port to the computer, it will update, you will lose everything on the access port, and you will be screwed beyond measure. Like me, this car has been tuned for 3-4 years. I have never plugged my access port to the computer because I never had a reason to other than tuning. But since this car is already tuned, everything is good, it's running good, I don't need to plug it up to the computer, so I'm fine. This really doesn't affect me at all. So if you are like me and you're fine with your access port with the tune and the car and all that, do not plug your access port up to the car. I would, if something happens to my car now and say I have to get something new, I would literally try to replicate my exact setup so that I would not have to get a revision, also known as a retune. Do not plug your access port up to the computer if you are fine with everything, if you're fine with the tune, the car, everything. Don't do it. It's not worth it. If you do it, you will run into some issues. Don't do it. Question number 4. Would it affect us if we are on E85? So the cool thing about these cars is, again, we don't have flex fuel. So when installing E85 or running E85 tune in these cars, all they have to do is adjust timing and all that stuff. So that really doesn't affect us. So you guys can still run E85 in these cars happily. You just have to contact your tuners. Now, certain things that they might have to do, I honestly don't know. I'm not a tuner. You might have to consult your tuner about that. But from my knowledge, this car is not flex fuel, so it doesn't hijack any other sensors or anything other than the fuel system itself. So you can still perfectly run E85 in these cars and perfectly fine. Question number 5. Can I still install tunes from Stratified or any other company? You can still install tunes from Stratified or any other company, whether it's off the shelf or if it's on the shelf, meaning if it's Pro Tune, or on the shelf, meaning it comes with the access port. You can still do that. It's just anything emissions related they can no longer tamper with. So for the SCIs and WRXs, you guys can't install Flex Fuel Kit if you're doing the access port because it tampers with the TGV, and that's a big no-no because it's mission related, right? If you get a downpipe and it goes on the check engine light, they can no longer turn off that check engine light because they no longer have access to do so. So you can still get tunes from these companies through Stratified, all of that. It's just certain things that have to do with emissions, you just kind of have to be careful with. So I'd say, again, consult your tuner, make sure everything is good from that aspect. And again, if you're going crazy with your build, definitely would read this article and see what they can tamper with, what they can't tamper with, and then kind of judge from there. Question number 6, is the pop tune still going to be around? I'm guessing when I say pop tune, they're referencing the Snap Crackle pop tune. I can't see that going anywhere anytime soon. Only reason why is because that's not really emissions related, at least from my knowledge it's not, because when the tuners tune that, only thing they're adjusting is timing and gas. But you know, leave it up to DPA, they'd be like, oh, gas is freaking dumping too much into the engine, causing the combustion to be over retarded. I don't know. You know, they come up with things, that's whatever. But yeah, I honestly, I can't see that going anywhere anytime soon. From my knowledge, again, that's not really emissions related. They're just adjusting timing and gas. Question 7. What happens if you don't update the access port? Again, do not update your access port. The access port is not some magical thing that Cobb has access over. It doesn't have Wi-Fi or any signal at all. The only time that it knows what it's doing as far as downloading a tune to it or updating it is if you plug it up to the computer. You will be screwing yourself in the end. Just leave it where it's at. Even if something breaks in the car, make sure that you buy the exact same thing that broke. Just try to keep the same setup because you do not want to retune it because you will be screwing yourself. Question number 8. Can I still get a tune if I install the intercooler and downpipe? Again, you can still install the things, it's just with the downpipe, you will get that check engine light. I highly suggest you getting a defouler if you don't want to ride on with that check engine light. But you can still mod your car. So think about it, guys. You can still install a downpipe, intercooler, intake, big turbo. You can external wake kit. You can still install all of that stuff. You can still put stuff on the car. You just can't take it off. Think of it as that way. Like you can't take off the check engine light. You can't take off anything that has to do with emissions. Question number 9, and this one kind of sucks. What does this mean if I don't live in America? So I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say that I see both sides of this. I understand why Cobb is doing this. They're abiding by what the EPA is telling them, because if not, you know, they could be in serious trouble with fines and possibly go out of business. But at the same time, I don't believe Cobb was really thinking about the customers from this aspect. I know some would say, oh, you know, they've been giving subtle hints since, you know, way back when. Like, yeah, but that's not enough. Like, think about it. Yeah, they took off the flex fuel kit for the STIs and WRXs, and they've done a couple stuff that, you know, let us see that this was coming. But think about it. Yesterday was the 18th, and it came out with this article, and it went into effect immediately. They didn't say, oh, you know, by next month or by next week, or, you know, just give us a date. No, it went into effect like ASAP. So everybody out there that bought stuff that was planning on installing it this weekend, or everybody that's out there that's like in the process of tuning their cars or modifying it, has now been screwed. And that's where I think it's kind of messed up on Cobb's aspect, because they didn't give us no heads up at all. Like, not even the tuners. From my understanding, Cobb just threw out that article, and boom, like it was like, I don't know, a full mess. So honestly, it does suck. If you live in America, if you don't live in America, you're still affected by this, because this is a nationwide change. And honestly, again, I see both sides, but it does suck from a customer standpoint. Even though it doesn't affect me, it still sucks. Next question, what does this mean for the Accessport? Me personally do believe that the Accessport is slowly but surely going to be going away, because of the fact that Cobb has put these restrictions on their tuning software, that people who want to actually make big power can't do so with the Cobb Accessport, so they're going to go with other softwares like Ecutech and like Open Tuning, and it's not really going to make sense for them to get an Accessport now and then down the line spend more money on a different tuning platform. So I do believe down the line that the Accessport is going to slowly but surely go away. Now again, it's 100% efficient for people who just want to do full bolt-ons tune, or people who really don't want to go too crazy with the car, just want to make a little extra power. But yeah, eventually I do believe that the Cobb Accessport is slowly but surely going to go away. And last question, will this affect horsepower? 100% will affect horsepower. Again, there's a lot of parameters in place that you can no longer tamper with, and in order to make big power, some of those things you do have to tamper with. So I do believe that in a sense it will affect horsepower. Yeah, it's only the beginning, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if all the other tuning softwares kind of follow suit, like Ecutech. I'm praying to God that Ecutech does not follow suit. If you guys don't know, we are in the middle of a single turbo build on my 370Z Nismo, and we have recently just finished that build. We are getting a tune next week, so that car will be pushing some big boy power next week. So I'm just praying that they do not follow the footsteps of Cobb, because that would kind of suck. But these are just some questions that I did want to answer for you guys. If there's something that I missed, or if there's something that you guys want to add to everything, make sure that you leave them in the comments down below. But other than that, I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, stay safe, and stay tuned.
No flex, I done dropped a couple bands on it, brand new Rolex. I can pop a couple bands on you, girl, you know that. Once she get the poppin', I like way to go. We gon' get it poppin' on the radio, turn down.